right, sorry about that for all our live listeners. Technical issues sometimes abound. You're tuned into Cigar Chat, broadcast live around the world, picked up on the Armed Forces Radio Network. I'm your host, John the Cigar Surgeon, joined as always by my co-host, Logan and Trippy Trent. Logan, what's going on, brother?
Founder, you mean? I think is what you meant to say.
I do mean
there.
that. Founder and creator.
Yeah, you know what's the most amazing thing to me? My daughter's 2.5, and we're over the potty training hump, but you would think, I mean, I don't know, just logically, if you would think it would be easier to train someone not to crap on themselves than not to pee on themselves, right? Because pee, it's like down your leg, you know, it's gone.
See, we're off to a high water mark right off the gate here, but,
no, but like,
carry on.
But for real,
okay.
We pee in the potty, no accidents, been awesome. Holding it almost all overnight, but will not poop in the potty.
Interesting.
I mean, dude, she is just tearing up these Mickey Mouse panties. I mean, she is just wrecking them. Like, it's vile, and she won't stop. And I don't know, that's a perplexing question, and I'm going to ask God one day, is why do kids continue to poop on themselves after they're potty trained?
That is a good question. Trippy, how are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm pretty good, doing a little better than Logan. My daughter's the same age, and she's not ready to potty train. But I may be a little flushed today because I've been moving the 11,000 pounds of pebbles that are sitting in my driveway right now.
We're about the happy news.
A 30th of the way done. Oh yeah, Logan's excited because we're getting the same kind of dog as him.
Well, kind of.
Yes, it's a slight variation, but it's what is it? A Labradoodle?
Mine's an Australian Labradoodle. You're getting just a Labradoodle.
All right, so I'm getting a Labradoodle.
To be fair,
awesome,
Logan's Labradoodle is pretty awesome.
It is.
He's pretty spoiled too.
Pretty awesome. But we're not really here to talk about Labradoodles or anything of the like. We're really here to talk to our special guest tonight, Phil Zanghi of Debonaire Cigars and Indian Motorcycle Cigars. Phil, thanks for joining Cigar Chat. It's been a hot minute.
Good evening, world. Yeah, hi guys. I know it's been a while. We were talking about that earlier. About I think it's like 18 months.
Yeah, crazy. Dang. That's too long. Way too long.
It goes by fast, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a 3-year-old girl too, and she's pretty much figured it out both sides of the fence. You know.
I'm hoping, man.
She just screams, "Bathroom now!" Like kind of like from the Wedding Crash. Yeah, that kind of thing.
It's like bathroom, hurry!
Yeah, like you're like, yeah. That's when I'm like in my special invented bean bag that I'm at the angle that you cannot get up. You know, and I gotta like do some weird roll move. You know, and it's exactly when I'm just comfortable. I just lit a cigar. I thought she's asleep, and then there's like this insane screaming match. But
gotta practice those judo moves. You know, roll out of it, little jits action. Absolutely.
I just explained. I explained rearing kids is it's a beautiful confusion.
Yeah.
And that's about the backs of it there.
So Phil, let's get into it because we haven't. I mean, we caught up with you a little bit at the IPCPR in Las Vegas, but
absolutely
that was a big show for you. There was a lot of changes going on. So maybe let's talk about some of those changes. The first one, of course, is you're being distributed by Drew Estate now.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just a blessed thing. Jonathan, Drew, and I go back to the beginnings of my career, his career. We're best friends still to this day, and joining with that, it's like getting scouted and then brought up to the majors like instantly. And this is I'm in the 4.5 years having Debonaire House, which now is Debonaire Cigars, and then it's Indian Motorcycle Cigars. So getting with them, it's like really tripled stores, and I actually have an infrastructure that's amazing. I work with the best sales force in the business, and I'm not just saying that because I work with them. They're amazing. I mean, I get picked up and taken around, and it's pretty amazing, I get such love, and the Drew Estate infrastructure, as in the consumers of them, they've taken to my brands and like considered a Drew brand, and it's just been awesome, man. I can't complain. It's busy, a lot of production, and it went like full Mach 1 instantly,
Absolutely. So
Question,
Go ahead, Logan.
Question. How much, I've always wondered this, is because we've spoke, Phil, and I won't share on air, but you've shared with me pre-distribution by Drew Estate, how many cigars you're approximately selling. How much percentage increase has happened? Because I've always been curious, like, you have a small brand that gets tied in with a big, I mean, Drew Estate, I hate to say it, but huge conglomerate now. Like, you've got this behemoth, and you're riding that wave. Like, are we talking 100% more sales, 200%, 300%, 400%, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10,000?
It's exponential because, I have nothing to hide. I was a one-man show. I started off, the first year was 13,000 cigars.
Right.
I sold them all. Then I went to 26. Then it went up to like almost 100 and something thousand. And that's because you got to remember, you got to remember, a lot of people, when you see it coming, the whole thing is I made a lot more than I was selling because I have to have when there is a spike like this.
Uh-huh.
But even with doing that, I went in the first 3 months of being with Drew, I went back ordered.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Right. So like severely with my Duros and stuff. And it trickled in, and it just was the growing pains. It's been exponential, 1,000-fold, and not to even, because when they say you launch something with any brand, any real distributorship, right? Because let's not kid each other. There's some great brands out there. I've been smoking some of the best cigars of my life. Besides the stuff I'm trying to make the best, that's what I'm shooting for. There's a lot of brands out there that make some great stuff. But if you don't have distribution and you can't get it to the people, man, it is truly a game changer. And I know I'm sounding like Mr. Obvious, but yeah. And the love I get from guys like you and like, Cigar Authority and Coop and Stogie Geeks and all that. And those are the people that really kind of make or break you now in this industry, because I can do my groundwork and build a brand by myself, but with people that actually dig my products and dig the ideal in the whole gatherings idea and the smoke history campaign, Americana with Indian, it helps by tenfold. And for people to keep being interested and keep wanting me to come back and talk, I'm humbled by you guys even want me to come back and talk again,
I'm just sorry we haven't had you on, and as long as we have, it's kind of sad, actually.
Yeah.
I've been busy. You get busy.
Uh-huh.
We're doing it now, people. That's all that matters.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, you guys are great, man. Logan, to answer your question, it's been like full on.
That's awesome.
Welcome to the circus. It's something.
Awesome.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, like, just to put it into context, maybe in my mind. So, how many shops would you say pre-distribution roughly you're represented in? Pre-distribution.
I was probably in. I think it was like maybe 100. Honestly, before that, there were 77, and then you put the stores that have 3 stores and stuff. It was like 100 to 125. Outlets, place that we're selling in, like a storefront. And I counted yesterday without really looking at it, like guys that have 5 stores, and some of these people they put me in that I haven't even gone to, and it's over 600 now, 700.
Good. Wow.
Right. So you just put them in half. Yeah. And it's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Territories. It's all areas, because I focused on Northeast and Texas. That was it. And last year I did a lot in Florida and just got you got some really great stuff in Florida, like Havana Humidor and the Prime and the Smoke Inns and like Vero Beach, and some great people, great salesmen, just good people, man. I can't say that it's been, because it can go both ways. I've known people who got in with big distributors and got lost in the mix.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I go out there on the road all the time. I as much sell Drew Estate products as I do my own. So they in turn help me sell mine more. It's not like only the Phil Zanghi show. I understand. I understand the pecking order. I'm a humble, I'm an egotistical guy. So, I know I'm in a lot of these shops I wasn't in because Drew Estate's in them. So, I'm just happy for that. And from that, just being part of the team, it just works beautifully,
Before we get into some of our audience questions, Phil, I'm gonna ask a question, which is really a personal question for me because I'm up here in Canada, and I'm now the general manager for 16 stores up in Canada. Is there any possibility that Debonaire is going to make its way up here into the Great White North?
I'd love it to, man, but you know how your structures are, and I work internationally. I'm not hating. It's like my cigar people probably pay for a small home up there.
Yeah.
Not too far off.
Tiny house.
I mean, whatever it is, if it's $1, it's $10, right?
Uh-huh.
That's just, I mean, that's the math. I've met with great guys like you and all the Havana House and all the big guys, you know, and we try to make the numbers work. And I'm like, look, man, I don't want you to spend your money and sit on something because it's not famous.
Yeah.
I'm a realist. I mean, I got a following, but am I famous? No. Forget me. Is Debonaire famous yet? Is it a known brand in the top? If I say, name me 5 cigars, Debonaire don't come up. Know that. I mean, I'm working towards that. Or you go Acid, Liga, Monte Cristo, Upman. The ones that in Canada you got the Cubans, so you got the Partagas, you got the Cohiba. They're going to name those top 5. I mean, I'm not even in that thought. I'll try. Is that good enough? I'll try.
That's all you can ask, right?
I've even tried to get up there with machine maids and everything, making like the Colts and working with the people to make stuff like that up in Canada that do real well,
Uh-huh.
And no, it didn't work out.
It's a tough slog up here. Logan, before we get into our first break here, do you have any? I know you've been thinking on questions. You always got one in the chamber.
I've always got questions, man. I don't know if it'll be time before, but I think the best part about Phil, and I didn't know this until, I don't know, it's been maybe a year ago. I didn't realize you speak as you're like this new guy in the cigar industry, and you have a very, I'm trying to think of the right word, colorful, fascinating, and interesting past, and have your hands in a lot of other stuff, which I won't say on the air, but some other things that you do that everyone knows. Everyone
on this planet.
Everyone knows. But it's funny I don't know. I talk to you as a cigar guy, but it just, I don't know. All that stuff behind the curtain is very, very fascinating.
Hey man, I'm an open book. I
know you are, but it's crazy, man. It's fucking wild.
I just got blessed to learn of the breaks coming up. I'll go over it with you, and I'll answer any question you want. I got no shame, man. I'm proud of everything.
All right, well, we'll take a quick break here for our sponsors. I just want to remind our audience you're tuned into, now that you can hear us, you're tuned into CigarChat broadcast live around the world and picked up on the Armed Forces Radio Network. Please stay tuned for a word from one of our great sponsors. Sharing Our Pairings is brought to you by Gurkha Cigars. Gurkha Cigars, makers of the world's finest cigars. Try the 93 rated Heritage featuring a Rosado Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and Dominican, Pennsylvanian, and Nicaraguan fillers. Blended by Gurkha's blending team at American Caribbean Cigars, it is hand-rolled Nicaragua and available in 35-count boxes. Talk to your local B&M about the Heritage today, or talk to them about other fine Gurkha cigars. Whatever your taste preferences, Gurkha has a cigar that's right for you. All right, we're back, and we're, of course, joined by a very special guest, Phil Zanghi of Debonaire Cigars and Indian Motorcycle Cigars. And we were kind of talking about kind of all the things you got going on. I know, Phil, we could probably fill 2 hours just talking about boxing, but easy. We'll get into that in the After Dark segment, after our Armed Forces Radio Network segment. I want to keep it on Debonaire for a moment. One of the things I think we talked to you at the IPCPR, which I did not know, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit about, is that you have a process for your tobacco that is not used, as I understand, anywhere else in the industry. And maybe you could share that a little bit with our audience, because it's kind of, for tobacco geeks out there, it's kind of a cool process.
I was going to ask about this, and it fascinated me when you told me about it.
Very cool.
Go ahead, Phil.
I learned it. I mean, I took it. I mean, no one has an original idea anymore. I mean, you get your idea, that whole, inception thing. You see something and it sparks something in you. Well, like Logan was saying, I mean, my group, we are in machine mades, in pipe tobacco. We bought all the old American famous brands up that were going to die. Like, say, we're partners with Topper Cigar, 120 years old. We're partners with FX Smith. That's the oldest, still continually running cigar factory in McSherrisburg, Pennsylvania. A guy named Craig Smith, great guy, family owned. We bought just recently all the national tobacco brands, which you know the name Marsh Wheeling, which is like the stogie. It came from there. So we're trying to, we bought all the machinery from them. So we're bringing them down there. We left the factory open in Pennsylvania to continually make American-made products, but we brought a majority of the machines here to start producing products, natural with long cut short filler stuff. But we bought a company in 2007 called House of Windsor, which during the 60s, 70s, and 80s was the powerhouse in America, owned by UST, bought by a private individual. They made like Crooks and Wolf Brothers, but their big thing was pipe tobacco, which was Black Argosy, Country Doctor, Barking Dog. There was a Bourbon Street, some famous in the 70s, like is famous or more famous, some of them, than Captain Black, which stayed around. And I learned the process from there, how we buy these things called bang conditioner. It's like a giant steam tunnel, basically. So when you thrash tobacco, it's called primary, what you do is you put tobacco in about 11% humidity, right? A whole leaf. And what you do is you put it through this bang conditioner, and it takes about 4 minutes to travel down the length of it. And when it's while it's doing that, it's pushing steam and hot water on that tobacco, so it swells it up. So when it comes out the other side, it's at like 23 to 24. You try to get the 25%, humidity content in the leaf. So the vein is way heavier than lamina, than the actual leaf itself. So when you thrash it and take the vein out in an air system, the heavy particle falls out, which would be the vein. I took that process and also some other pipe making processes where like Cavendishes and stuff like that with steam, and developed an alchemy process that I use on my tobacco. Basically in Debonaire, what I do is I generate steam from distilled water. Okay, after the final fermentation on the pile, I move it into a room, an area where I introduce steam to it, but it's distilled water steam. So I get it to a certain temperature, then I flush the room with cool air or with, outside air through filters. And then I do it again and again, and I bring it up and I bring it up. And what happens when distilled water is a neutral, when it evaporates, it pulls off a lot of material. So it'll pull off heavy metal, it'll pull off pesticide residue, fertilizer residue. And what the key thing is to get all that ammonia out of there. But by doing that, what I figured out is that it leaves what we all love so much about cigars is the essential oil. Okay. And tobacco is notoriously low in essential oil. It's only 2 to 3%. So saying that, when you smoke a Debonaire, it's super uber clean, but it's got a lot of flavor and it's real deep and rich and fatty because you're smoking oil. And the best thing I tell people to do is when you get about an inch and a half into it, purge it, blow through it, right? So because it's high in oil content and the oil now has broken down and heated up, so it's loosened itself. And when you blow it towards the ember, now you're going to blow it towards the ember, towards the actual ignition point, and introduce oxygen again, ignite it, and you get this super fly. People say like fruit. I got people tell me it tastes like prime rib, which I think it does. In the Maduro, you get that real beautiful raisiny broadleaf. I don't know. It's just nice, man. And it worked. I ruined a bunch of tobacco, but thank God we have machine-made stuff. So I threw it back in. And it seems to work. And it seems that this is a weird thing I've seen. If you get on Debonaire first, you're an Indian fan, yes, but you prefer the Debonaire. But if you smoke Indians,
I would agree with that.
Right. If you smoke Indians first and then work your way into Debonaire, you'll go to the Indian, but you'll also like Debonaire. But a lot of people become only Debonaire fans. They don't smoke Indians.
Because really,
when they smoke Debonaire first, they don't want nothing else.
Because, I mean, if I understand correctly, really your position, the way you sort of position those products is the Indian is kind of the medium-bodied cigar, and the Debonaire is really positioned to be the full-bodied cigar, correct?
I'm a weirdo, so I don't like using the terms everyone uses, so I say full flavor.
Yeah, full flavor, right.
Medium flavor, well-balanced.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do events, I do gatherings. It's a Debonaire ideal society. So, I mean, when I do something with people, it's more of a movement. It's an ideal. It's not a lifestyle. An ideal lives on forever, where a lifestyle you can, 1 week you like mountain climbing, next week you like going, the rock, searching for like crystals. Who knows? People change like the weather. But an ideal is something that sticks in your mind and you try to, achieve that. You know what I mean?
No, and I have to say, because obviously I listen to all the other podcasts out there, and a lot of them have segments specifically towards the Debonaire ideal. And I do love this idea of, you're not one of these guys who's coming up with this sort of marketing campaign that's like some sort of marketing campaign to push your cigars. This is something that you live and breathe every day. And, I have a lot of respect for that. That's a really cool concept to bring, I don't even know what social movement as a part of cigars, really.
How to Be a Gentleman by Debonaire Cigar, and then there's a Debonaire Ideal, right? There's two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really talk about cigars.
At all.
It's about, hey, cell phone etiquette. On an airplane, when you're waiting for your luggage, do you step right up and push people all the way? You wait 2 inches to the left. It's a freaking revolving thing. It's going to go by you. There's a lot of things like that because, I became Debonaire. I'm trying to achieve the Debonaire status myself. Every day I want to be a better guy tomorrow than I am today. It's all the power of positive thinking. It's the PMA, the positive mental attitude. It's random acts of kindness. It's being spiritual and whatever you consider that. I'm a Catholic, so I try to be the best Catholic I can be. You can be whatever you want. I just try to be a good guy, I'm flawed like everyone else. I just try to accept and embrace the traits I have and try to bring them to other people and primarily be interested in other people more than I am myself. I'm telling you, no matter how big our companies get and the things we do on the backside, like Logan talks about and all that, my partners are the most humble guys you'll ever meet. They're just really good people. And this kind of quasi fame, I'd rather be well respected, well renowned, well liked than famous any day, right? And that's not my version of things. That's Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. These are old school, Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar. These are just guys that game changers that people have forgot almost. And now we know of, Tony Robbins and The Secret and Deepak Chopra and those guys. They got that from somewhere else, man. That stuff's from like the 30s, from the Depression era,
When you start dropping Zig Ziglar, man, you take me back to my sales days of sales training. That takes me right back. I'm much older than I look, so that takes me way back. Absolutely.
The opportunities to advance, and I love that guy. See, but I tell people this: you first start off with Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. That's the power of positive thinking guy, right?
Yeah.
He sounds like God talking, right? That's the Marble Collegiate Church in Manhattan. Is a non-denominational. This guy was like on another level, right? Then you go from him, then you go to Napoleon Hill, which is the power of positive thinking guy, right?
Yep.
Think and Grow Rich, right? That's the other guy. Now he's Andrew Carnegie's scribe,
yep,
which was a steel magnate that was kind of a, robber baron, but turned his life around in the end with all that money. And then you go to Zig Ziglar, because if you do the opposite, Zig Ziglar will freak you out because he's like a huckster, Listen, son, I used to get up in the morning at 5 a.m. and drive, and it's like, what? I don't know. It freaks you out because you're not ready for that,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Trippy, we got some audience questions. I'm sure we've got some audience questions.
We got some good audience questions.
Let's get
and one
into
of them is a question that we had planned on asking anyway. So Matt Ross, who is also known as Matty Blaze, I know Phil knows him. He says, "Am I one of your favorite people and why?" His legitimate question is, when can we buy your rum in the States?
The rum thing, that's on the back burner. And yes, you are one of my favorite people, and why? Because we look alike.
You guys do look
It's
a lot
true, man.
alike.
You guys look a lot alike.
If that's an answer. The rum, I don't know, guys. It's not. I got so caught up in what I'm doing this way, and now with Johnny doing his liquor and stuff, and I'm not going to try to mix things up. And we're doing great in Europe. It's a full-time job. I mean, it's doing the dog and pony just like I'm doing now for the rum and all that. I have to do the same thing, and I just don't have the time. I got to see my family,
Yeah.
It'll organically grow, and we're going to finally find somebody that wants it and get a good distributor and a good importer and all that. But hence, it's not an easy thing. It's harder than tobacco, man. It's way harder.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty saturated business.
Yeah, and it's really expensive to get in. Like, you're not going to a boutique factory in any of these countries down here and getting, 25,000 cigars made, getting 1,000 boxes made divided by 4 sizes. That's easily attainable. You're talking, right? Say $2 a piece, that's 50 grand plus the $5. You're looking at maybe with everything in, if you really, you can get into it for $200,000, you can be in business. Rum, forget it. That's the bottles.
Yeah.
That's the cases. That's the little sleeves that go on the neck and the cork. It's just craziness, It's then you got to go to the distributors and they want $1 million to even talk to you in advertising budget before they'll even take your stuff and put it on a shelf somewhere.
That's crazy.
So,
that's crazy.
Jonathan Drew loves to use the term ROI, return on investment. Okay, when you return on investment, you got to understand the dynamic and the theory of what you're going to invest to get the return, and it's not just money. It's time, it's thought, it's many, many things. So I'm just make a long story short. I don't see the rum's not coming to the States anytime soon. I'm sorry to say it.
Well, we're definitely sorry to hear that. We'll get back into that in just a quick second. We're going to take another break here. I want to remind our audience, for our live listeners, you tuned into Cigar Chat, broadcast live around the world, picked up on the Armed Forces Radio Network, heard, of course, on CigarFederation.com, YouTube, and Facebook Live, which is working great this week. Maybe not last week, but working great this week. And this segment is brought to you by Cigar Oasis, who are the market's leaders and innovators in electronic humidification. If you don't have a Cigar Oasis product, are your cigars truly protected? You need to set it and forget it today. I have a Cigar Oasis product. Do you have a Cigar Oasis product? Go to cigaroasis.com to find out more. Logan, you got a Cigar Oasis product?
I do, man. I have the Magna.
The Magna.
And I usually use just the bricks, you know what I mean? The little green bricks. But I've been getting some mold, so I did the beads.
Beads are
First
wicked,
of all, dude, you want to keep a 2.5-year-old occupied for hours. Like, fill those beads up and watch them get big, and then you have to dig them out with the spoon because she's like, Daddy, this one's big. And and they work great, man. So I'm a big fan of the beads.
I've got the Magna, and mine came with beads.
But you have to buy the thing is you have to buy. It's not just one pack of beads. I had to buy 3 packs of beads to make it work. That's one thing they don't disclose to you.
You need a lot.
Mine,
of
beads. They sent me one little tiny bag of beads, and it filled up the whole thing.
Maybe you have like a jumbo bag of beans.
I don't know.
Magic
beans.
I don't know, man. But yeah, man, the beads are where it's at. I've moved all my humidification over to the beads, and no mold. They're very easy to spot. You can tell the beads just shrink. You know, to add water. I like no brainer. I like to smoke the cigars. I don't like to manage the cigars.
Yeah,
this is true.
This is easy stuff. Trippy, what else we got for audience questions? I know we got some good questions.
I got a question.
Oh,
it's not cigar related, but I found this article on the internet, and it's Chuck Klosterman's Sex, Drug, and Cocoa Puffs, and it's 23 questions that he asks. And Phil, I want to ask you this question.
This should be good.
You've won a prize. The prize has 2 options, and you can choose either option, but not both. The first option is you win a year. The first option is a year in Europe with a monthly stipend of $2,000. The second option is 10 minutes on the moon. Which option do you pick?
Oh, the Europe, $2,000.
Why?
You could do a lot in Europe with $2,000 a month.
Well, this is true. But what about the being on the moon and being like one of the 7 people who've ever stepped on the moon? If we actually ever went there.
At this moment in time where there's never been anybody on the moon except astronauts?
Yeah.
I'm going to Europe thing.
I mean, you could advertise as Debonaire, the brand owned by the guy who's been on the moon.
Yeah, dude. You could put a Debonaire flag on the moon.
Can't smoke cigars on the moon, though.
Yeah, there's no
That's true.
oxygen.
I mean, there ain't nothing on the moon. You're gonna sit on the moon and look at the Earth? That'd be cool. But no,
Dude, it'd be
I'd rather
awesome,
go see
man.
all the sites in Europe, all the ancient cool stuff that's on our planet Earth that I haven't seen yet. And you go to the moon, you're gonna get on the moon and stand there for 10 minutes and look around. They're gonna bring you back. The ride up there would probably be better than the ride back. You know?
That's probably true. I don't know,
Just-
man. Leaving the
just
Earth's
like-
gravity
I'm
would
with
be
Phil.
rough.
I'm with Phil.
I'm going.
I mean, don't
I'd
get me
rather
wrong.
go to the moon.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I would love to go to space because that's, on the bucket list that'll never be fulfilled. But Europe, man, and I agree. Like, I'm a world traveler, much to the chagrin of my fiance. She always says, like, you're going everywhere every other week. It's like, there's a lot of world. I haven't seen hardly any of it. I want to see it
Yeah.
all.
All right,
I
let
lived
me
in
ask you
Europe
another
as a
question.
kid. Okay, go ahead.
This one's even better. This one's more of a thought-provoking question. Imagine you could go back to the age of 5 and relive the rest of your life. Knowing everything that you know now, you'll re-experience your entire adolescence with both the cognitive ability of an adult and the emotions and the memories of everything that you've learned living your life previously. Would you lose your virginity earlier or later than you did? And what else would you change?
The virginity thing, I'd stay where it's at. I go buy, founder stock in Google and
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I mean, Yahoo,
Yeah.
Apple, all those things, and pretty much I would never have had to had a partner or any of the stuff I do now. The ones I have now are great. I thank God for the guys I work with now. But before it took a lot of digging in dirt to find diamonds, put it that way.
He'd be a 10-year-old in the DR using reverse osmosis
Uh-huh.
That's
on
true.
tobacco.
That's true.
I'd be driving a Pagani around 10 years old. What's up? Yeah. Show up.
Smoking
I just
cigars
bought
at 10 years old.
Bugatti,
I like
All right,
it.
so on to the more important questions from
Those
the
are
audience.
good freaking questions.
Those are good
I've got-
questions.
I got 21 more of them right here.
So who is this? Cigar Surgeon, you posted this. Oh,
Yeah,
it's from
that's
Harley Holmes.
That's from Harley Holmes.
He wants to know, are you still involved with Indian motorcycling or the motorcycle company? And how does riding a motorcycle influence your cigars?
I like that.
Well, I've been around. Yeah. Polaris is I'm the master licensee.
One more thing. P.S. He's sad to see Polaris drop Victory motorcycles, which I am too.
Yeah. I'm sad. They're sad, but people want the Indian so bad. And I really think as a business decision, they need those extra motors.
Mm-hmm.
And they need that capacity that Victory was taken away from Indians' growth. And Indians growing insane. And to say there's motorcycling and the whole lifestyle of a motorcyclist and an enthusiast, which Indian riders are, influenced my cigar smoking. It's influenced my entire life. Since I was 18 years old, I've been around Indian motorcycle. I refounded it with my dad, tried to build a bike, lost it, spun off a company called Indian Tobacco that grew leaps and bounds in the 90s. Partnered up. A guy became my partner named Rocky Patel in like 95, 96. We worked together to 2001. And now it's come full circle. Now I'm partners with Polaris, which owns Indian Motorcycle on the aspect where I'm the tobacco division. And they are the best people you can ever imagine to work with. They're they're open to any ideas I have. This year is going to be big. The rest of this year, because we're building a whole dealership program for the cigars. They're totally open to it. Motorcycling to me, in the actual Indian motorcycle itself, it's part of my DNA at this point. I mean, does it influence my life in every aspect? That's the only way I can say it. Yeah.
So does that mean maybe I'll be able to go down to the India or the Polaris dealer down the street and pick up some cigars?
If it's an Indian dealer, probably soon. Yeah.
That'd be good.
That's cool.
It all works out that I just hired a brand manager to work inside of Drew Estate, and
Who's that?
this guy's right on, and He's young. He's a big cigar smoker like us. He's a great guy. That's one of his main things that I just needed someone to help me. And he's pretty much designed a program to work regionally at the store level, find a retailer that will work with a certain amount of dealers. And it just pretty much service them. So they don't have to get licenses and all the stuff that entails that. And yeah, I could say in the next 24 months, 18 months, you'll see a lot of Indian motorcycle cigars in many Indian motorcycle dealerships.
Awesome.
That's so fascinating. Who else I have a target market? I have a captive audience, right?
Is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Why wouldn't I do that? And they're open for it. It'd be different if they said, we just want you to pay our royalties and do that. No, they're so good to me, man. I love those people there. The people up there, they're just, I can't say thank you enough to them if they're listening, and thank you to all the riders out there that are totally into what we're doing. And it's just great, man. If you pray long enough, God ends up talking back eventually.
It's true.
So let me ask you, building on that, Phil, because you've got sort of two distinct brands, and really two distinct brands with their own philosophy, with a lot of background to both. So for you, is it more fun, more interesting for a customer to sort of take that journey through Indian motorcycles first and then discover Debonaire, or is it more fun to discover Debonaire and then the whole gamut of Indian motorcycles?
They're both equally beautiful, in their experience, because the whole thing that the Debonaire and Indian way it's evangelical sales. So I like the one-on-one, but when you see someone smoke a Debonaire and then they're talking to you and they're listening to me, first they believe me, then they think I'm full of it. Then I belittle myself and I'm like the Guinea Forrest Gump, I'm always there next to everything all these years. And then they really get it. And then they're looking at the cigar, and then they're looking at me, and they're looking at the cigar, and I'm like, it's good, huh? They're like, man, this is something special, And that's the Debonaire experience. The Indian experience is they come in, oh, what's that Indian motorcycle? Was it a gimmick? I'm like, no, but you tell me, buddy. What's beautiful, the package is great. That's the real logo. I'm like, yeah, it's not. And if you look at it, it's real. I did really worked hard on it to make it an authentically branded product, not just a thrown on thing. And then when they smoke it and they look at me, they say, hey man, this isn't a gimmick. This is a really good cigar. That's the Indian experience, And you get the new riders, a guy that is on the weekend with his buddies going on a ride. They stop at a cigar shop. They buy some cigars. They don't smoke much. That's why I blended it more medium so anyone can enjoy it. It's like the Maduro's got that sweetness. The Habano's got the savory. They sit down around a campfire or outside of a hotel, wherever they're at, smoke a cigar with their buddies. They turn a guy, hey, I'll take one, and they like it, and then they enjoy it. Now I just got a whole new facet of, a fan club or, consumers, whatever you want to call them. That's such a. Yeah, go ahead.
Question. So I don't know jack nothing about motorcycles. Like you're talking hogs and wheelies and big old handlebars. I don't know nothing. But here's my question is that I know Harley and I've heard of Indian motorcycle.
Yeah.
I associate Harleys with like bikers and the Hells Angels and like nefarious characters. Indian, I don't really have an opinion either way. I think other than they're old and they're classic and they had them in like World War II or whatever. Is that stereotype correct? Or what is the stereotype or the generic customer for each one of those?
I'll speak on Indian.
Okay.
Indian started in 1901. The other company started in 1903. From 1901 to 1953, Indian Motorcycle made 6 million motorcycles. The world's largest, the best there was. You're talking from Vincent LaGuardia rode one around, Clark Gable, Roy Rogers. It was versed as the enthusiast, the motorcyclist bike, right? And I don't know how many Daytonas, how many races. It started off with 2 Swedes that were bicycle manufacturers. It's a whole Americana. If you look in the top 100 trophy trademarks in the world, it's one of them.
Really?
The Indian, that Indian motorcycle, the headdress, the little head on the fender with the light in it. It's they don't consider themselves bikers, put it that way.
Okay.
They're riders, they're enthusiasts, they're motorcyclists. That was always the thing. It was the brown leather jackets, and the guys would wear nice. They would have like riding clothes, like an outfit.
Got it.
Scarves,
goggles, nice hat. Beep, just rolling around like, with a tweed jacket on, with elbow patches.
Got it. Okay.
It was a real like kind of an adventure. You look at the guys in the old days. I'm not making this up. I mean, if you look at who were riding these bikes, they were like real into like performance. They were like the performance guys. And because the racing was so versed that you could get a bike that was close to the race bike, and these guys would tool around on these bikes, and it was the Cadillac, man. It was the Lincoln back then. It was the real Rolls Royce of bikes.
Yeah, Cadillac is the right word for it. It's the Cadillac of motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah,
premier brand.
It's premium, buddy. Ultra premium.
and I mean, to Phil's point, I think around the world it's recognized as, it's instantly recognizable in any country in the world. You show them the logo, even in countries that have never seen an Indian motorcycle, they recognize the logo because it's got that brand presence worldwide. It's crazy.
In Canada, it's huge. Huge in Canada.
Huge.
Always has been.
Huge.
Always. Huge.
Huge.
What else?
Huge.
Is that a good enough answer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that's a good answer.
I don't know, man. You're the expert, man. I've never ridden anything with two wheels other than a Huffy in my life, so I don't have no clue, man.
Yeah, I don't ride anymore. I'm going to start again because the kids and everything. My wife and I made a deal years back because I got hit on a bike in Honduras when I was living there.
Ooh.
Crazy.
By a chicken truck, like a frozen chicken truck.
Ooh.
And it was uncool. So, yeah.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
uncool.
And
How the heck did you get hit by a chicken truck? I mean, I know the drivers are bananas, but like,
look, no
was
booze,
chickens
no
going
nothing.
everywhere and stuff, or what?
No, it was a big like freezer truck, and I was
like
driving to
like a Tyson
Don
chicken
Lee?
truck. Yeah.
Don Lee to the factory in San Marcos. It's right there, and it's midday. Driving along, I see this truck on the side of the road with this it's a flashers on with the hazard lights. I bow out a little bit to the left to give some space, and then I hear the turbo on it kick in, and he just whips around U-turns on the street. There's no car on the road. It's just me and him. So I just like gun it, shoot the bike at him, and like lay down. And thank God, I always wear a helmet, always have. And I slid, and then there was a telephone pole, but God was with me that day because there was a big berm of sand. They were mixing concrete, so I just boom right into the burn of sand.
Oh.
Got up, took the helmet off. The whole side was scratched. And what totally saved me is I had my backpack, and I had a pistol in the back because I had it made. Like I could grab it with my right hand if I had to.
Right.
It was like a sleeve. I slid along. So when I took the pistol out, when I finally got home, the whole side where the slide release is was filed down. It was a blacked out gun. It was a Jericho, all blacked out like Cerakote. It was like I polished it.
Wow.
Yeah. So imagine the guy must have thought seeing me skidding across the ground with sparks flying out of my back.
Yeah.
That would have been, and I got up and they're all freaked out. And I take my helmet off, I throw it at the truck and start speaking in like Italian, Spanish, English. Who knows what I'm saying? And pretty much the bike was done. And then I just went and bought a truck,
Copy that. All right. Just want to remind our audience, you are tuned into Cigar Chat, broadcast around the world under the Armed Forces Radio Network. We're here with our special guest, Phil Zanghi, and of course, our host, Logan, the MFN CEO, and Trippy Trent, our co-host. Logan, this last segment is brought to us by who?
I don't know. Oh,
Drew,
last thing.
Drew State.
They good. Back to you.
And you can just for people who have the Drew Diplomat app, you can as I understand it, you can do Debonaire on the Drew Diplomat app.
I believe you can.
Absolutely.
Maybe depending, because Apple over there, a bunch of squirrely effers that they are.
Yeah.
SigFed app's no longer on iTunes, and I have a feeling most of the other ones are already gone. Not that I check every day, but are gone. That really just grinds my gears.
Yeah.
You know
Did you hear
what I
about
mean?
that, Phil?
No.
The Apple's you
Apple's
tell the
got a
story,
war on
Logan. You're
tobacco.
fired up. You tell it.
So basically, one day I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android, and one day I get 3 messages from people saying, "Hey, what's up with the SigFed app?" And I'm no app person to begin with, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "I can't. I had to do something on my phone or whatever. I tried to reinstall it. It's not in the App Store." I go, "Well, let me make sure I've been paying the bill." Well, I've been paying the bill, and basically, Apple has crusaded to say they're not. Not only do they not support tobacco, but it's anything really age restricted. I mean, guns, and it's not just like selling cigars, which the SigFed app has a component of that. It's anything, like to the point where even the Dojo app, if you're taking a picture of something, you can't do it.
The official word from them, from what I've heard, is you can't encourage tobacco use.
Right. Which
What does that even mean?
I can't stand Apple, bro. I've never owned an Apple product.
I haven't either.
Me neither.
I have Samsung guy. I was a Sony Ericsson guy, and then I went to Samsung. And
me too.
I didn't know you guys have an app. I'm going to download it. I didn't know you had an app.
We do, man. It is. It's pretty nifty. I know the guy who designed it.
I'm going to download it. Start harassing
you, man. Do it, man. Start harassing us. But yeah, so it just sucks. It's really, really got me fired up about it. It's annoying.
I don't. It doesn't surprise me. That's like, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. I'll sound like a conspiracy theorist.
We could talk about it. We could talk about it in the after dark.
You know.
Yeah, it's bogus. That's the strongest words I can use in the Armed Forces Radio Network.
Bogus, yeah.
As Gwen Stefani said, it's BANANAS.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Trippy, what do we got for audience questions queued up for Mr. Zanghi?
We got some good feedback. We got friend of the show, Juan Cancel, watching.
Hey, Chubby Nuts. What's going on?
Logan, he wants to know about that Christmas tree behind you.
Hey, man, it's...
You want to give a little plug?
It's my,
you don't have to.
It's my white supremacist. No, I'm just kidding, man. That's a joke. That's completely a joke. Wrong color. It kind of looks like it, though. It's actually where I put Allie when she's being bad in timeout. I just put the big bag over her head. No, I don't do that to my wife either because that'd be terrible. Man, don't worry about all that. Listen, Logan's got, much like our revered guest over here, Phil Zang. He's got his hands in a lot of pots. Logan Lawler is also an entrepreneur by spirit. He might have a corporate job, but behind the scenes, Logan Lawler is just making
Christmas tree bags.
Christmas tree bags, roasted coffee, burning down my office, doing whiskey barrel-aged coffees. You don't even know, Juan. You don't even know, bro. Why don't you call me sometime? I'll tell you all about it, sir.
Call me. Phil, you like coffee, right? You're a big coffee guy.
I'm a big coffee guy. Yeah. Huge.
I would take bets on Phil probably trying my coffee before surgeon.
I've tried your coffee. I weaseled some samples down at that juice.
You did. That's right. Which one did you try?
I don't remember, man. It was a blur when I came back from. I mean, you go down to Nicaragua, you're smoking cigars, you're drinking rum. I mean, it's a haze. It's like I come back and I have to detox for 2 weeks afterwards because I got rum coming out of my skin. But the coffee was good. It was good. That's my endorsement. Lane Coffee. It's good.
It's good.
You roast your own coffee?
Yeah, bro. I mean, this show's about you. It's not the Logan Lawler show.
We can talk about it in the After Dark segment.
Well, I gotta go. Because the wife's on me. I'll tell you briefly, just real quick. I've worked at Dell for ever since I got out of college for 11 years, but I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. Started took over Cigar Federation, have done that. I don't know your thoughts, but I think the FDA is going to go sideways. And it's really going to crush not the media side of Cigar Federation, but the store, because it's carrying brands like Debonaire that aren't pre-embargoed, things like that, right? So I was like, what am I going to do as a hedge against it? And I was like, what is the most similar to cigars that same kind of countries, same kind of attitude, kind of like, seed to smoke, has the ability to be really creative. It's kind of an old industry that I can bring all of my marketing expertise to. And I was like, bro, and it's not going to get tackled by the FDA ever. Coffee. So
Smart.
January 10th launched Lane Coffee, and it's been growing like a weed.
I'll get some.
Man, don't ship to the DR, but if you're ever in the U.S., we can make that happen.
Definitely when I'm there. I'll buy some from you.
Done and done.
Well, let's get back to our guest here because we do have about
Hey, you know what you
8
could do?
minutes.
Hold on. What
Roger that.
shameless plug. I know Jonathan's got some things in the works. If you could talk to your boy Jonathan and say that Logan Lawler has capabilities in the coffee area, that would be very much appreciated. If you know what I'm saying. Thank you.
With cross-pollination going on.
Hey, man.
I got you.
Just a man in his roaster.
That's it.
Burning
Like
his
Kenny
office down.
Rogers. You're like Kenny Rogers of coffee. Kenny
Dude,
Rogers.
I am, man. Applying 700 degrees of heat, about burning down my office, smoking
Mhm.
this beast out. Have the neighbors calling the fire marshal. It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, good luck.
No, that happened. That happened.
Chaff fires are no joke, brother.
No, dude. This is why Allie said, hey, I don't care what you do, Logan, but you need to have one of those beasts.
That's what I think
And
that was
that's why
like
it's still in the box.
I think that was like the second thing I told you is like number one advice and then number two advice. Because we're way off topic, Phil. I've been roasting coffee for a while myself.
Fire extinguisher.
Dude,
That's awesome.
I'll tell you what, you wouldn't think coffee is flammable,
Bro.
but the
It's
shell that
oil. It's so much oil in
it goes up like that. Like it goes
Boom.
from roasting to like serious kitchen fire.
It gets scary.
It's
real
no
fast.
joke. Like it's scary. It's scary. Anyways, let's get back to talking about tobacco. I could talk coffee all night. We'll talk coffee We'll talk coffee at the IPCPR. Trippy, what do we got going on for audience questions?
We have another good audience question that's pretty pertinent to me. Jason Myers has seen a lot of Debonaire on the internet, but he's never seen any Debonaire cigars or anything out here on the West Coast. And he wants to know if you have plans to expand distribution for retail stores out here.
I was just in California and Arizona, like 2 weeks ago, not even. Yeah, we're coming out west, big time.
All right.
Nice.
And I got another trip planned in the Northwest by you in August. So yeah, I'm trying to. It's
Awesome.
time.
Logan, you had a question queued up before our break there.
I did.
You did. You forgot
Yeah,
it?
okay. No, I got a good question. I wouldn't say it's a personal question, but Drew Estates went through a lot of changes recently. Being sold / acquired by Swisher, Jonathan coming back. How much does Debonaire get caught in that churn, or are you kind of in your own island, just doing your own thing, and they're selling your cigars, or do you get pulled into a lot of that churn and a lot of that change?
Nah, in the corporate structure, no. I mean, I go to their big sales meetings, and I'm close to a lot of the main players. So, yeah, but when it comes to their real structure, no, I have no involvement in that.
Okay.
I don't get left out in the cold. Put it that way. They help me. They let me kind of evolve inside their system organically because I get along with everyone good, and I've kind of been around a while, as you said. So I kind of do my own thing, and they know that I'm not like I don't have to be, really petted or guided.
Right.
So they do their thing. The company, Swisher International, they're great people too, man. I mean, it's a real good outfit, really professional, and it's a biz. I mean, they run a business, and they're so busy on their other side. I mean, Drew Estates, they run itself. They have a great new, of course, Jonathan. Thank God he's president again. That's the best news I've heard in a long time, to be honest. And the guy, Mr. Glenn Wolfson, the guy that's the CEO of it now, he's a real knows what he's doing, brass tacks guy. It's working, man. I mean, it's a big company, more than people think. It's huge.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moving parts. You know what I mean? And that's an answer. No, I don't know what. They don't pull me in to talk. Put it that way. No, it's that they're doing their own.
They're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious.
Trippy, I think we got one.
I can't. How would I really be involved in that? They call us a strategic partner. So same as Hoya, same as those. You got to do your own thing anyway. I manufacture myself. I mean, I do all that myself, and they distribute for me. So it's up to me to get in the bloodstream. You know, I can't wait for them to make me in the bloodstream. You know what I mean? You have to kind of work with them. It's just part of the deal.
I think we got time for one more question, Trippy.
All right, here's another one from Matty Blaze. Of the predicate releases, what are you getting the best response on, and what are the chances we'll see them in future releases?
The Connecticut Shade, huge response to Daybreak. That's definitely coming out in Debonaire. There was also Connecticut Indian that's going to come out. And you want to hear the weirdest thing of all? Candela.
Yes.
Wow.
Really?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm just saying, it was the weirdest. I did it just to do it, right?
Yeah, because you had to.
And people, I had a lot of great response, more than I ever thought. I never even smoked them. Put it that way. I just made them. And I got really good Candela and stuff like that, but I don't know. That was the one that was out of left field. The Daybreak's great. That's the Connecticut Shade, Ecuadorian shade that I put on a regular Debonaire. I just use the same everything. Just put a Connecticut on it that we cure different. The Ecuadorian, we do a little more curing, so it's not so bright yellow. It's more of like a golden. It just changes it to be buttery, smooth. I mean, I'm not a Connecticut shade guy at all. Never have been. And it just came out amazing. I've given it to a lot of people, and they're like, "Man, this is gonna be your biggest thing ever." I think that's what people say.
Ooh, I gotta try that one.
It's just unique. It's a very full flavored Connecticut. You know.
Nice. Phil, as we come to the end of our Armed Forces Radio Network segment here, maybe give our audience a little plug on where they can find you on social media and where they can find more about Debonaire Cigars.
You can find me on Facebook at Phil Zanghi. Then you can also find it at Debonaire House or Indian Motorcycle Cigars. You can find me at Indian Cigars Phil at Instagram and Debonaire Phil at Instagram. And that's the max. That's pretty much all I do. And also on the Drew Estate Diplomat app, please, everyone, download that app. It gives you all kinds of great different things going on with Drew Estates, new releases. Of course, it feeds Debonaire and Indian full on. All the great products from Drew Estates, and it's just a great app to have. All the events that go on, the bond smokers, the stuff like that, the cigar safaris, it's worth it.
Nice. Well, this brings us to the end of our Armed Forces Radio Network. Stay tuned for all our live listeners. We'll go into our After Dark segment without Logan. He's just going to leave his camera running, but we'll be in the After
I'll
Dark.
be here for a minute. Just
all
for
right.
a minute.
Fantastic. So thanks for all our live listeners.
Feels.
Thanks for all our Armed Forces Radio Network listeners out there. As we always say, you guys are built to do things that we are not. And you got a doubleheader this week of Cigar Chat. Hope you guys stay safe. Have a fantastic weekend. And we'll catch you next week for another Cigar Chat.
Thank you.
All right, so this is our After Dark segment. So we're still live. We're still broadcast. Now, Phil? Are you a football guy? Do you follow football a lot?
American football?
Yeah,
somewhat. Yeah, I know a lot about it. Yeah.
I did not realize, and this just goes to show how much my head's been in tobacco lately. I completely forgot that tonight is the NFL draft.
And no idea.
Yeah, totally missed it.
No.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
I'm getting messages left, right, and center. By the way, I forgot to mention for our live listeners, make sure to tune in 1 hour for the Cigar Coop primetime live show. Coop is on. Check it out on Facebook. Check it out on Cigar-Coop.
Hey,
good friend of the show.
Let me say something.
Roger that.
Coop is a great American.
We've got a question from Coop, but I'm going to hold that
Aaron
for a couple
Loomis,
minutes.
on the other hand, I don't know about that Aaron Loomis. Let me just say that. You might want to watch out for that guy. Let me just say that.
What's the question, Trip?
Sidewinder.
Well, we'll wait to get to the question. It's a boxing question, so we'll wait till we get into that.
I have a boxing
Juan
question.
Cancel, he's been chatting it up in our comments on the video. There was one thing he wanted me to say to you guys, but I can't. Ho snap. He wanted to say ho snap.
Oh snap!
Oh snap!
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I don't even.
Okay,
And
I figured you guys would get it.
Call
He
me.
wants to know if there's any way to get. Well, first of all, he wants your coffee, Logan. And he wants surgeon coffee.
available at lanecoffee.com. We accept all major forms of payment, Juan. Thank you very much.
There you go, Juan.
You can even finance your coffee on my site because that's how much I love you.
I mean, is it a conflict of interest if I roast up a batch for Juan and bring it to Vegas and he gets a batch of Logan's coffee and a batch of my coffee? I mean, my coffee's not going to compare because I don't have the fancy
I would
gear.
want to hear his thoughts on that.
Yeah.
He
coffee.
wants to know if there's any way for Apple users to get the app, and there's just not. Apple has that shit locked down.
Apple's got it locked down, man.
There's no way to get it unless we can figure out a way to get it back on the App Store.
No way.
Which
is
no
terrible.
way it's not coming back on because there's been a lot of emails to Apple. I have not been very professional. I'm probably on their blacklist now, and we're never getting back on.
Your emails just go straight to the spam
No,
folder.
it goes straight to the asshole file. I've been a little rough with them, and yeah,
Understand.
Phil,
it happens.
we were talking before the show, and I'm dying to ask this because I know you are a lifelong, very intelligent and educated boxing guy. I follow boxing. We were in Nicaragua, by the way. The three of us were in Nicaragua. We got to see
fuck.
We got to see the Chocolatito fight live in Nicaragua, which was a great experience. The only thing that would have been better is being ringside, but it was a great experience sitting in Nicaragua in Esteli, watching the fight. Logan was freaking out.
Granada.
Yeah. Granada, pardon me. At Charlie's. And Logan was freaking out because Chocolatito, you could see the fight kind of wasn't going his way. And Logan was thinking, oh, man, like there's going to be rioting in the streets if he loses.
Logan's never been more invested in a sporting event.
Ever in my life, except when I was in Chicago when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. And
that's some serious business.
I left 5 minutes before from the cigar shop to get back to my hotel. And then I'm glad I did because all fucking pandemonium broke loose. And I was just in my... Dude, I'm talking like cars on fire and shit. It was fucking epic. And I'm like, fuck, I'm glad I did that. And I was expecting the same thing, but instead of them having like cars on fire, it'd be like machetes and shit. And they'd come after the American where the fight was, I was scared shitless. I mean, I really was. I don't even care about boxing, no offense. And I was like, Chocolatito, my boy, get him. Trip was there.
Yep.
Yeah,
you were fired up.
I was, man.
We were rooting for him. We were cheering.
Juan's getting
it was
excited
great.
about some protocol coffee, Logan. You better get on that.
Well, let me just say, you wouldn't be the first one I'll be doing something with. Shameless plug.
So, Phil, I have to ask this because as an amateur boxing fan, I've been following MMA since '92, since UFC 2 hit the pay-per-view. So I've been following MMA from the very start, actually pre-UFC, back in the Pride days. So everyone,
right.
Exactly. So everyone's talking about, this big McGregor versus Mayweather, and like, again, I'm an amateur boxing fan, and I'm of the belief that you take the best MMA fighter, the very best MMA fighter, and you put him in a boxing ring. And Mayweather is one of the best current boxing guys around, period. Like his record speaks for itself.
You may not like him, but he's the top. He's tier one. Yeah.
Tier one. So you take Mayweather aside, you take like a tier 2, tier 3, just an average professional boxer, and I'm of the belief the average professional boxer would mop the floor with the world champion MMA in boxing.
Of course it would. It's such different fundamentals. I mean, remember, you only have two things to use in boxing: your hands. There's no takedowns. I love MMA. Don't get me wrong. I love all the fighting arts. Muay Thai, probably of all things. I mean, boxing and Muay Thai are very close in my love, right? Because you're talking another tier one. You're talking Bakul and those guys from like Thailand.
Those guys will murder you.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they're jumping and kneeing you in the face and then like landing effortlessly and spinning again and really good fast hands, really fundamental boxers, but with an amazing leg game and clutching and cinching.
Crazy footwork.
When
have you seen crazy footwork in MMA, right? Like nobody's got footwork like boxing.
No, it just doesn't work that. It's all about that rhythm. It's all about closing space, not grabbing. It's closing, tightening up, delivering punches, backing out again, cutting angles off, left to rights, the head movement, shoulder movement, direction of punching. It's a sweet science,
Yeah.
What you're getting to is the Mayweather McGregor fight, right?
Exactly.
It's a money fight. They titled it. That's what it is. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I really don't believe it's going to happen. I don't know why in my heart. I don't think it's just. I think it's just promotion for them both to get the fights in between that fight.
Yeah.
Promoted more, so the questions are always being asked, and McGregor's. It's more for McGregor than Mayweather anyway.
Yeah, Mayweather has nothing to prove at this point.
No, he's there. He's already. He just has to win. And it wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be. I mean, he got his boxing license, McGregor.
Yes.
So, but would people consider that win on his record to make him the best record in history, undefeated? Like to get there with Marciano and tie it? Because he's 49, right?
Yep.
Right. So at 50-0, you're with Marciano then.
But right? I mean, would you count that, right? Like
that's what I'm saying. I'm not hating, but I wouldn't count it because if he fought Canelo or one of these guys that are up there now, that are sick, or Triple G have dropped weight and got with him, then you go, yeah, he is the best, one of the best ever, arguably. He has that record. He won that record, But for him to beat the piss out of Conor McGregor, which is an animal in every other aspect except boxing. But he thinks he can get in there with him because he has really good hands for MMA. He's actually a good striker, what they call it, right? In MMA. But, it's not strike, kick the leg out, grab him, tie him up, get him in an armbar. No.
Yeah. You're not boxing for 3 minutes. Yeah.
And then having Mayweather, you can't even look. He's like a shadow. He's floating around and, But the only thing that could happen. You see weird stuff happen all the time.
Boxer's chance. What do they call? Puncher's chance.
Yeah. Puncher's chance. Everybody's got a plan to get punched in the face. That was Tyson's thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Even Tyson got knocked out.
Buster Douglas in Tokyo. I remember that. I almost threw up. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's like Ronda Rousey getting knocked out, And Conor McGregor getting knocked out.
Yeah. Crazy.
Right?
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. But the only way that McGregor does have a chance is he comes at him in a really unorthodox, weird way, cutting it off, coming at him with like crazy, then running around. I don't know, because Mayweather, he can float on you, and I think Mayweather would just want to knock somebody. I think he would want to knock him out just to prove a point.
Yeah, I'm on the record. If the fight ever happens, which, like you said, it's probably not going to ever happen, but I'm on the record, and here we are live on the internet. I'm on the record that if they actually step in the ring and fight, Mayweather is going to knock him out in the first round. Round 1, not round 2, not round 3, round 1. It's going to be like a Tyson-style knockout. Tyson-style.
McGregor's going to run.
What's the Vegas odds? What's the Vegas odds on this?
That's a good question.
I don't look it up. I don't think they even have odds on it yet.
Yeah, I don't think they have odds yet.
Oh.
I think they'd have to pick a venue and.
There's no ifs and buts and candy and nuts. Every day's Christmas. That don't happen yet.
Juan's weigh in on this is when I arrest someone combative, I punch them in the face.
Hey man, it'll mess you up.
I'd actually like to roll with one. I've spent a few years in jits. I'd like to roll with one. He's a big dude, but that'd be kind of fun. I'd roll with him. That'd be enjoyable.
As long as I could smoke in the car, it'd be cool.
Yeah. Smoke in the back.
Smoke in the back.
I don't think they let you smoke in the back.
I know, man, but I'd manage the sawed-off shotgun. That would be my role. Just
shotgun's in the front, man. You'd lock it into the dash.
No, man, it'd be in the back with me. Just blowing fuckers up, man. It'd be badass.
Just shooting randomly at people.
Dude, back in my shit-kicking ways, we used to drive a pickup truck down the road, and there'd be geese flying over, and we'd be half out the window shooting geese out of a moving truck. Dude, I'm expert with a shotgun.
Missouri.
That's so illegal, Logan. That's so illegal.
So illegal.
Well, yes, it is. But it is. but it's past the statute of limitation, so it doesn't fucking matter anyways.
Where do you live,
And-
Logan? Where do you live, Logan?
Where did I grow up?
No, where do you live now? Not your exact address, but what town do you live in?
I live in Austin, Texas now.
Right, you're in Austin. You're in Austin.
Austin,
right.
Texas now. But I Central Missouri. They call it the Golden Valley. I disagree with that name a little bit, but that's neither here or there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very
Well,
small town, man. Very small.
I'm
town.
trying to find Coop's question, but Facebook is being a jerk right now and won't let me see.
You know who's
anything
a jerk?
on his comments.
That Aaron Loomis. Aaron Loomis.
But Coop's question was about somebody who was recently declared the worst boxer in history, and he wanted to know if you actually know him.
Oh, I know who he's talking about.
That one
I
guy?
can't-
That was that
Is
guy with the shaggy hair. Oh man, it was terrible.
The guy from it was. I saw that, man. Hey, Coop, if you're listening and watching, I love you. You're my brother. You're one of the best out there. Coop's been integral in helping me get out there to people because he's so authentic and people actually believe what he says. You know, he's just a good guy. You all
Super
know
good
that.
guy. Yep,
Just the salt of the earth.
100%.
And the boxer's named Kenny something. I saw that on the internet the other day. He looked like Kenny Powers from that one show.
Dude, Eastbound and Down. That's my
Eastbound and
favorite
Down.
show.
He's
My favorite show.
But in a fighter, and just the worst windmill, the worst. I mean, it was like, I don't know how he even got in the ring.
Yeah.
He was like out of shape, but not
Stiff-legged.
fat. You know, like skinny fat. Like, dude, he has no muscle content, no style. The guy hit him so hard, it looked like a catapult through him. I gotta find that, man. Where is
Oh,
that thing?
it was hysterical.
You know what I'm talking about too.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, I was watching the fight and I was like, this is not going to end well for this guy. And then he just came around the corner, pushed them kind of into the corner, and just like his head just about came 180 degrees around, hit him so hard. I mean, you know when a guy gets hit that hard, you're like, you better get a doctor into his corner because that guy is like,
It can break your neck. I mean,
Yeah.
it can do a lot of damage to you.
Yeah.
Swelling. I mean, Debonaire House, and we have Debonaire Boxing straight out. I mean, I sponsor Irwan Red Catch, El Terrible. He's like number 3. Diego Arias, the guy, he's in Mexico right now. He's coming up. We have a Dustin. I can't remember his last name right now, but he just fought in Philly. I cross my fingers. There's a big fight coming up, and he might be on the undercard. So,
nice.
yeah, and I just live vicariously through it. I still spar all the time, no BS. I still train like crazy, but I can't fight no more, man. I'm 44 years old. I probably could down here, but it'd be like the first scene in Rocky. You know what I mean? With Spider Rico, just straight tomato can shit. I know myself well enough. I'm not that egotistical, you know?
Yeah, my problem, Phil, is whenever because I roll every once in a while with some guys I know, and every time afterwards, the next day, like, you know, my shoulder's tweaked or my knee is tweaked or like my wrist, like, you know, I'm in my 40s now too, and it's like, you know, in my 30s it wasn't that bad, but it's like right off a cliff. When I get into my 40s, it's just like stuff hurts that shouldn't hurt, and it's like I don't want to be limping for the next 3 weeks, you know. So it's not worth it.
And every time you hit someone, you apologize
It's true, man.
because you're
It's
fucking.
true, yeah.
Well, you apologize
Canadian
afterwards, right? You arm bar him and then you apologize afterwards. You're like, sorry,
You're
I
like,
had to do
oh,
that too.
so sorry I hit you.
Sorry,
Oh,
brother.
about to hit you. Sorry. That's
Sorry,
all
Sorry, I
right.
had to choke you out.
Sorry. All right. Well, I'm gonna go because the wife's blowing me up. So
All
I
right,
do
brother.
not sign out.
That's right. Just keep your camera going, and we'll.
What would happen if I did?
Well, in our new technology, at least the temporary technology we're using right now, it messes up all the cameras. But we're looking at another technology platform that will alleviate that problem. So
Okay.
we're
Is
we're
it
testing
free?
it. Sort of. It's free for 6 months.
There ain't no budget. Ain't no budget.
No budget. We
budget.
work off a shoestring budget here, Phil. We like free tools, so we use all the free tools that are
No,
available
man.
to us.
There ain't no budget. Nothing, man.
Hey,
Except
man.
our suite at IPCPR. Woo!
You should
All
tell Phil
right.
about this. You could,
Dude,
Phil
let me
should be
just
in the
tell
know.
ya.
Yep.
Let me just tell you, is I am the cheapest man on the face of the earth. I started saving when I was 25 for my daughter's college education. She wasn't born until I was 31. Like, I am just thrifty, frugal, don't spend a dime. Like, I won't let John spend a dime of Cigar Federation money, even though we
It's
got
true,
plenty.
man.
But this year, I think this might be the last IPCPR that'll ever be worthwhile. And that's just my opinion, because the FDA, who knows? But I was like, you know what? We're not going to stay at Circus. We're not going to stay at the Stratosphere. Let's do this shit up right. And John and us were all on Skype looking at places, you know, and we were like looking at it, and we found this suite at the Cosmo. It's about, I don't know, like 1,000 square feet, but it has
it's like 1,200 square feet.
Okay, 1,200 square feet, but with 400 foot of outdoor balcony on both sides.
460. Yeah, 480.
I'm downplaying it, Phil. I'm downplaying it. 480 square feet of balcony on two sides. Dude, it's a pimp palace. We're going to party like, I don't even drink, but we're going to party like fucking Kenny Powers. And
I'm with you. I'm coming.
Yeah, dude, we're going to fucking do
I'll bring
this
a
shit up.
people. I'll bring some people. You think I'm interested? I'll bring some people.
Bring some people. I want to meet some people. And we're doing it up right. And so that was the big splurge. And Tripp's like, I don't know if we should do this. And Tripp's like, I don't know. I'm like, dude, what are we talking about, man? I decided this like 25 minutes ago. Let's just fucking rage on this bitch.
That was John that wasn't sure. I was like, Logan said he's in.
I said I'll pay for it.
Because I'm the Scot. So, you know, as thrifty as Logan is, you know, I'm the Scot. So I'm like, I'm watching those pennies. I'm pinching those pennies. I'm like, you know, well, what if we, like, what's the finances? How do we break that out per head? And Logan's like, just book it. And I'm like, yeah, but like, how? He's like, book it.
I'll pay for it, man.
Book it. So we booked it.
I know it takes money to make money. I mean, I'm not going to BS you guys. The first year of Debonaire, I somehow broke even.
Wow.
Totally somehow broke even. Really. And on the books it said like I had 10 G's extra. I don't believe it. I'm like, there's no way. I missed.
There's no way.
I didn't give some receipts or something. But you know, I was by myself. I mean, I'm frugal, but I mean, I just know how to manipulate things in a right way. I mean, I get good deals and stuff, and I mean, it just is. It takes money to make money. I mean, I went at it like I was, you know, Davidoff. Hey, I'm, you know, ultra premium, this and that. Show up in a nice suit, and it worked. You know. And when you're by yourself, it's cheap. It can be.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't drink or anymore. I don't do anything anymore. I mean, I just whatever. I mean, I'll go to GNC and buy like, you know, nitric oxide shit. You know,
like supplements and shit.
That stuff. Try to get swole. You know,
trying to get fucking swole.
You're trying to get all jacked out. Old swole. Now it's gonna be old swole. You know,
get that old man. I got that old man strength going now, man. It's serious. You know.
Hey, you never fight your dad, man. Your dad, no matter what you think, is always stronger than you. I learned that lesson a couple times.
They made you. Whooped. It's like they made you.
They just fucking dominate your ass. You think you could win? Fuck that noise.
They're gonna say something.
Don't try.
You know, I don't even know, dude. I don't know. I got 2 sons, and I train them like samurai. You know, and I watched those American Ninja movies when I was a kid, and I was all into that stupid shit. You know, and,
absolutely.
And I always wanted to be that flashback scene. And when I was like a young kid, my dad's teaching me how to like to break boards and
break those bamboo with the kick.
Snap my head on a rock and like chase, just run around with meat on me with the dog, like in Kickboxer, you know, that kind of stupid. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I still watch that. The other day, man, what was on? What movie was on? Gosh. I was so excited when I saw it. Red Heat. Remember Red Heat?
The classic.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, awesome. I forgot how good that movie was, man.
Yeah.
No, it was Arnie and Jim Belushi.
Jim Belushi, right.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think it was made, but not Richard Donner. It was the other guy, a real serious director.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
It was so good, man. The soundtrack, I don't know. I'm just weird. I like the 80s that's our era, you know, as kids.
That's my jam.
Lethal Weapon. Awesome.
The best era of, I mean, I think we went over it one time. I think I went over with Robbie because Robbie's a big movie guy. And it was like, I think it was like 1988 was the best year of movies ever. Like every movie that came out that year was incredible.
Die Hard.
That sounds about right.
Terminator.
Lethal Weapon 2. I mean, there's a bunch that came out.
Tons.
You know what was a great one too? You remember Commando with Arnie?
Oh,
awesome,
yeah.
man. carrying that log, and his arm is just like he's carrying the
He's
log.
so swole. He's
Just
so
massive.
jacked. It's like God, and he like effortlessly jacked. You know,
Effortlessly, yeah.
it's like you didn't see a weight anywhere around his house. Nothing. He's like, this guy's just swole naturally. I mean, this guy just walks around jacked out of his mind, and he's just like out there in like the truck on the hill. And the guy Sully, I remember. Yeah, I love all that. So I love the cinema. I do love the cinema. I do. I love it.
We have a lot to chat about, I think, at the IPCPR, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, I like you guys. I mean, thank you for inviting me back, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Thanks for listening to me rant and talk. I mean,
Love it.
I'm still so humbled and impressed by that people actually want to talk to me. You know,
Absolutely.
really, man. I get a kick out of so much going on the road. I still love it. It's like a vacation, man. It's an adventure. It really is.
Well, we appreciate having you on, for sure. And you know, we know we're going to be bringing the camera gear, the audio gear. We're going to get a great interview with you at the IPCPR. So everyone who's still tuned in live, all our podcast listeners, we're going to have great coverage of the IPCPR. Of course, we're going to have an interview with Phil. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
you got it, guys. And maybe I'll bring a bottle of rum with me for that sweet.
There you go.
Please.
That's an idea.
I can bring 2 bottles in legally.
Yeah. Please.
I don't drink, so more for you boys.
Oh, well, I mean, our other show is Sharing Our Pairings, where we pair alcohol and, well, not just alcohol, but we pair spirits and beverages with cigars. And that, you know, I love all spirits. I love all beer. So yeah, we'd love that. That'd be awesome.
We got to bring some flasks so we can smuggle some home.
Absolutely.
We'll figure it out, boys. Thanks again. Are we done, or we can?
Yeah, we'll sign out. So I'll just sign out here. Thanks for all our live listeners. Thanks for all our podcast listeners. We'll be back at our regular scheduled time next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And as I mentioned earlier, make sure to tune in after the show to the Primetime Live show with Cigar Coop. I think he's got Aaron Loomis as his co-host, so make sure to check that out. He's a good friend of the show. And
yeah, F that guy.
And Logan's opinion, he's off air, so his opinion doesn't count. But make sure to check that out after the show, and we'll be back next week at a regular schedule. Thanks very much, and everyone have a great weekend, and stay safe.